Hello, everybody. Toby saying hello too. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody out there. This is Grace Espinosa from the Wellbeing Training Center, or my new one from Wellbeing Talks. So here we are, another day, another season, which it looks like the old season. No improvements at all. Here we are under the rain with few clouds and with a very dark perspective. So anyway, let's the weather not to influence in our weekly approach. This week, well, it was last week, we were celebrating Mental Health Week, and I just wanted to close the week because it's today Monday, and I want to help a lot of people to understand how mental health work. But in order to have mental health resources, we actually need to understand what is mental health. What is mental health issues that could be, affecting a large amount of the population. So I just wrote something that I want to read to you, which is let's celebrate we all different type of sunflowers in the field of God. Let's create awareness in a world that is not prepared yet to welcome humanity. A state of well-being in which the individual realizes his or her abilities to cope with normal stress of life, with normal stress, issues and imperfections that are in life, that we all have to be able to cope with it in one way and another way. Since early age, we all trying to cope with the stress that can provide life. Will be very beneficial if we can work productively and fructiferous, and if we are able to contribute to our communities. But sometimes certain things get in the way of that, of our wishes and desires and our goals and what we really want to achieve in life. Sometimes it's that we even don't have any desires or any goals. But I know, even if you think, well, I don't have any goal in life, or I don't have any desires, or I don't have that burning flame yet. But we all want to be happy. We all want to achieve something. And whatever it is, it's a goal. Even if it's small or if it's big or if it's large, doesn't matter the quantity. It's still a goal. So what we face on daily basis, whether we are aware of it or we are not aware of it, it's the anxiety disorders. We do have a lot of anxiety disorders, including panic disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, and phobias. Phobias are a disorder as well. A large amount of the population face depression, bipolar disorder, and other mood disorders, eating disorders, personality disorders, post-traumatic stress disorders, and psychotic disorders, including schizophrenia. And if you fit into any of these categories, then feel proud of yourself because you are a human. And that is what it is, the most beautiful thing, to be a human. With a human, you have got a mind, and your mind plays tricks. If you are a human, you have got a heart, you have got feelings, you have got emotions, and you have got a physical body that regulates all that. Your physical body is the nest of all your feelings, emotions, and then in conjunction with your feelings, emotions, and your body, your mind works and operates in that way. It's probably hard to understand, and that is why I'm creating awareness about mental health issues, It's okay to talk about it. It's okay to say, oh, today I'm too tired. I cannot cope today. I cannot do it today. I will stay at home today. But then, you know, you will have certain resources and tools and way of coping with it. And then after that, you say the next day, well, I'm ready. I'm back. I can do it. So let's embrace the mental health week. Let's all embrace it. Let's all be kind to each other, but let's also empower each other. It's important to be kind, but it's also important to empower each other, to have goals and ambitions, and to do the best that you can do within your best ability. When you go to school, teachers don't want you to be perfect. They don't want you to be the best. But what they want you to do is to try your best. Because there are certain issues that you won't be able to resolve, or you won't be able to do, or you won't be able to understand, because we all learn in different ways. We do. Our brain is not the same. It doesn't function the same for everybody. But what we all should have that is in common and is the same is values. And what are your values? Is that something that you have to question yourself? What are your values? What is your own motivation? What make you, stand out from the crowd? What make you get up every single day of your life? What make you special? Everybody's special. Everybody's special. Don't think that you are not special, because you are absolutely special. It's just that it's how you express that. And that's what we do with Wellbeing Training Center. We do help you to achieve, to be confident, to go for what you want, to have that eager, to be thirsty and hungry for life. And everybody have got that. You all have that, flame and that fire inside you. It's just trying to sort of, canalize, or trying to, put it out there. To put it out there so you can see it yourself every day. Remember, the fight is not with each other. The fight is with ourselves. That is the fight. So in order, we have finished celebrating our well-being mental health week, and I wanted to actually record this to talk about something else, because we sometimes don't understand really what is well-being. That's why we cannot become real practitioners of well-being. And when you practice well-being, it doesn't affect your religion. It doesn't. You can be, having your own religion and still practice well-being, because practicing well-being is practicing to be a human. It's empowering your humanity. And well-being, it's a large subject. It's really big, because well-being is everything. That's why I've chosen this niche, because well-being combines everything. Combine the wellness, combine everything that a human can face. Anything, even at work, you can have well-being at work. You can have well-being in the house. You can do well-being with your kids. You can do self-care, self-love, which is all internal well-being. There are many ways of doing well-being. Well-being is everything, because it's life. Well-being is life. Is the wellness of the being, and the being is a human being. So there is no question about that. So well-being is a global equation. If you understand about equations, then you understand what is well-being. It's a global equation. And I'm going totally in the opposite direction here, because when we are learning, they teach us to sectorize, to do segmentation. And that's why the vast majority of the globally people that live in the globe, they don't understand well-being. They sectorize, and they tend to they tend to prioritize the wrong sector as well. And what I'm trying to create here is a global environment of well-being. Well-being is a very extensive area. Will take pages and pages to talk about the right approach. There is no right or wrong approach with well-being. In Wellbeing Training Center, we have worked, tireless, trying to concise and create a platform that represents and presents and also compressed an easy system to follow on daily basis. But in order to follow that system, you have to be aware of what it is, well-being, and how it will be beneficial for you. And it's not just for you, but also for your kids, for your family, for the people that you care about. So we have created these 4 main sets in well-being, which is a mental empowerment. This is where mindset tools fit into correctly, and this is where we give you tools to sort of fight all these disorders that are normal, but you can fight them. You can fight the disorders. You can learn how to cope with your own disorders. We also have the physical action, which is the health. We have the financial activation, because when you want when you want your finances to grow, you have to actually activate them, and that's the right word, financial activation. And then the emotional discovery, because it's your emotions, it's all internal. So emotions are all internal. If you have got the wrong emotions, if you cannot transmute or get rid of the bad emotions, then it will be impossible to actually move on. But let me talk about this, because lately I have discovered that we need to work on another subject, another set, which is environment reconstruction. Because despite whatever we try our best, and I see it on daily basis, believe me, I see it a lot. We try our best to concentrate on our own internal thoughts, our own internal resources, our own internal life, to build, to work, to try our best. But then something like this comes along, what we're living today in 2020, 2019, 2020, and 2021, and we don't know for how long will it last. The narrative that we hear on daily basis. So this causes a lot of disruption. Also, when people are not conscious of the environment, what surrounds them, then it's not where you're going to progress. And I keep saying this, and I will say this all my life. If your environment is wrong, don't expect any progression. And we all have learned and faced that this year, because a lot of people have been working for many years so hard, really hard, day and night, giving their best, very committed to their goal, and then suddenly they lost everything have gone like this with a blink of an eye. So how do we stop this happening again? That should be the question. How do we stop this? Obviously, as individual, you cannot stop it. But as a collective, you can stop. You can do something towards it. You can. And it's important to include there in the equation your environment reconstruction. Because we need to reconstruct that. It's all broken into pieces. Or maybe we never had it. That's what I think most of the time. So it's important to reconstruct. It's important to do something about our environment. It's important to reach farther than what we can see. And then think about, how does this affect you? Or how have you been affected? In the UK, people seem to be doing well. Nobody has been really starving or going into hunger. all that sort of things, because I haven't seen that movement yet. I haven't seen those, but that means that in some house you have got your social security in place and it works. And there is also room for improvement, huge amount of room for improvement. But I'm going to talk about people that actually have got nothing at all. And in the situation that we are, it's really hard to reach to those people. It's impossible to reach because we are totally blocked. I mean, there is no traveling. We are not allowed to travel. And unfortunately, we are not allowed to do much other than create awareness. So let me tell you this. I'm going to tell you this analogy. A few times in my life, I had to go to court. I'm not going to tell you for what reasons, but a few times I had to go to court. And out of all of them, one time was very empowering. And it was so empowering and so knowledgeable that I still remember that time. And it was this particular judge. I'm not going to say his name. I think it was something to do with boots, but I cannot remember exactly. It was a little bit long time ago, a while ago. And he within a few sessions, he told me more about law and principles and the principles of law than what I could ever have studied in my life or learned or in the books or anything. I don't think he's dead. He's still a real, law practitioner. It was very good. And the main thing was why they were established in the first place, why the law was established in the first place, and why we all should honor the core of law. Law hasn't got nothing to do with human interpretation or what is your human situation or what you are facing in that time. The law is the law, and it should be very precise and with the right intention. He said that the court, when a litigant is lacking on representation, the court will act on their behalf. On the behalf of the one without representation, or even if that person is not there present, in a court case. And I think this is very important because the law should have that balance. And if someone is a weakness, the weak link there, then the court and with the law, in conjunction with the law, always try to balance that. If somebody is not present, they always try to balance that, and they will see the objections and they will see the defense, and they will compare and they will evaluate it. And if it's a really difficult case, then it will go to the jury for more precise overview. But the core of the law is rich, is important, and not many people are happy to follow the law because they haven't been taught what is the law. That's why, because we only see the representation of the law, but we actually not understanding the law, and that's the difference. So there is the litigant. In a courtroom, there is always the litigant, the defense, and in between those two is the law, which is beautiful. The law, when you learn about the law, you understand that it took centuries to create something. It's a combination of everything that went wrong and trying to put it right. And still it's not perfect. It's not perfect. The law needs to be updated regularly because, like language, it diversifies and it changes and it transmutes and it mutates and it grows and it's complex. That's why the law needs to be reviewed constantly. We cannot have laws that they apply hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago, because they don't apply anymore into this DNA, right? They are not suitable because we have evolved. We're supposed to be moving and changing and evolving, and perspective change and conditions change and weather change. Everything is changeable. It's a variant. That's a variant of life. Nothing is static. And that's I practice universal laws as I write down, and I follow precisely the universal law. With the universal law, you don't have to be right or wrong. The law is there, and that's it. And that's why I call myself a metaphysics. I practice metaphysics because the universal laws are exact, precise. There is no way to go there or here. You understand how it works. And funny enough, the nature works like that. People worrying about global condensation and global and all this and that. The nature is like that. It's unpredictable. It's a variant, and they follow the variant. So let's continue on this one. Let's not get distracted. So well, this is where I'm going to, put my link and build my bridge. And this is where I am going to start creating awareness and building a bridge. And I'm not going to be burning the bridge. I'm going to build a bridge here. And so lately, we have heard about the heartbroken, devastating news happening in Gaza, Palestine. The law here is totally disproportional, absolutely disproportional. And it's sad, it's devastating for law practitioners, or for common people, or just for, it's absolutely devastating when you look at it in detail. It's also on a structure. It's very on a structure and disproportional. And that's not what that judge told me when I went to court. That's not. The law has to be proportional. That's what it has to be. And sadly, in most countries, they don't practice this. And this should be the main practice, proportional. So proportion is important, to have a kind of a balance. And you can apply this on your regular life, on your daily life. You see how effort you are putting into something. Is it proportional? Are you putting the same effort outside that you're putting inside, or vice versa? So it's time to start evaluating. And this is what we do with Wellbeing Talks. We talk about daily problems, daily issues that affect communities. Because I even when these sisters and brothers are far away, they are in my heart, and they have been in my heart. And the reason they have been in my heart lately is because it's so disproportional. It's absolutely disproportional. There is nothing there that says the opposite. Nothing. All the evidence demonstrates that it's absolutely disproportional. And I'm from Venezuela originally, as you know, and it's exactly the same. In the whole South America, it's exactly the same. And in most countries where I talk to people, I speak to people, it's exactly the same. So what is happening with the law? We are not understanding the law. We are not practicing the law. And that's why we all get into trouble. So I would not like to be put on level, because I hate levels, in one side or the other side. I love to be impartial. That's what I prefer to be. I always like to be in the middle. That's me. If you want to know me, this is me, in the middle. These fights come from ancient times. We all know that. However, in black and white, it's only 2 generations or less than 2 generations. This is not a religion conflict, which it is. It has connotations of religions here. But think, in the meantime, think what is religion? And think, where do you practice religion? This is the most important. This problem to me It's about inequality, as I told you, disproportionality. One side has all the resources, the structure, support like a monopoly, while the other side has nothing other than themselves. And in between, both sides are trapped, and no exit access is available. So there is no the exit door available for anyone here. And this is the dangerous, and this is devastating, because they are not sitting around the table discussing options. They are not. They just have got one narrow mindset at the moment, both sides. And the heartbroken situation is the people in the middle is absolutely heartbroken. And I'm going to compare this like a broken marriage. All of you that have been in a broken marriage, in a broken relationship, you know what will happen next. And unfortunately, one will have to move out and start from zero. That's the best. When there is no room for, dialogue, when there is no room for communication, when there is no open mindset and open mind, and when there are no room for negotiation, then one have to walk out. Unfortunately, the smallest and the weakest is the one that always have to walk out. And in my case, I know Palestine and Gaza always had to walk out. And I do understand that they must feel, well, they are tired of we are tired of walking out. We are tired of, always, backing off. But the most important thing is the safety of the people in between. And, when you are in a broken marriage, your kids are the victims. Your dogs are the victims. Sometimes, your dog suffering, your pet suffering. Somebody takes the pets, the other one takes the cats, the other one disappeared the dogs or the pets or whatever it is. It becomes a battle, a real battle on an open field for the kids as well. And these only lead to what I was talking earlier on: mental health issues, anxiety, depression, and everything else that I spoke earlier, which is personality disorders. Because when somebody's trapped in a situation and there is no room to move, then they start playing with their mind, and this creates these personality disorders, PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorders, obsessive compulsive as well. It does. And it does create phobias, it does create scarcity, it does create a lot of things that it will damage your kids, it will damage your environment, it will mark your kids and scarf your kids for life, or your pets, whatever is in the middle. And in this case, we are talking about a marriage or a family that doesn't work. They don't work in the same place, they don't get on well, and it's important to separate. We need to separate, and somebody have to say, this is enough is enough. And with violence comes more violence, unfortunately. Sometimes you have to learn how to sit down, to back up, to say, I don't want to talk, I don't want this, I stop, to take some time off. Because a defeat doesn't mean that you have lost the war. It doesn't mean that. A defeat means that you just stop. The greatest wars in the war, like in the Waterloo War, for example, it was like that, unpredictable. Sometimes you just have to back up, because if you lose all your resources, your people, you create more of the wrong environment, then what is the point of fighting for? The fight should be to protect your people. That what should be the fight for. So let's continue here. So if this ever happened, the one that has been the most affected will need all our support and help. This hostile environment does affect you, no matter if you are in another continent in the world, or if you're not that that big anymore. Uh, Kids that grow up in hostile environments like this one have turned out, it does traumatize. It traumatizes people. It affects people for a long time. These people usually are not able to sleep. So that because they are not able to sleep, it develops different issues as well. Especially all in the field of being psychotic, depressed, or psychotic disorders, or including schizophrenia. And this is important to sort of acknowledge this. People don't understand what is real mental health and what it calls mental health. Mental health sometimes is a large subject as well to talk about, but it's all about being traumatized and all the trauma combined together. We are hypersensitive beings. And remember what I've been saying before, we are sensors. We have got sensors. We operate with sensors. Whether you are there in the middle of the world, listening to the bombs, exploding on daily basis, especially at nighttime, that's when they attack and terrorize people. What do you think? Sometimes we need to put ourselves in somebody else's shoes. And sometimes we need to come out from our, safety nest. And sometimes we need to, have a little bit of kindness and compassion. And as I say, this is nothing to do with religion. This is a humanity problem. This is humans' problems. This is when two sides cannot, communicate properly. And there is a lot happening. There is a lot. And it's hard really to talk about it. It causes a lot of trauma even to talk about it. But it's important because it's important to think about the kids, these people, the young people, what happened after. And it's not far away from the reality that we live here in the UK. It's not disconnected. A lot of people think it's all two different problems. No, it's one problem, and there is a lot of connection here. It will affect you in many ways. It will affect the whole Europe. It will affect the whole South America, the America. It will affect every single continent. It has caused a lot of disruption and a lot of disruption in the Middle East, because it has opposite views. And whatever is happening outside, it will affect you energetically. It will affect you. Don't think, even the weather, it does get affected. What do you think about all this environment contamination? It's just not the noise. You know what is the noise, isn't it? You know the noise are frequency, and that travels. You must know that. So don't think because something half explode miles away, it's not going to affect you at nighttime. It's not going to create this environment and this rain and this heated weather. It will affect you. And this is why you need to create awareness. You need to create awareness of what is happening. These people lose their houses, their security, their peace of mind, their dignity, and even hope. What hope do you have if you have grown up in this environment? What hope? What do you think about? Other than, I'm going to tell you in a minute, what you will be thinking about. I think we need to propose a pacific demonstration of ceasefire and open communication. It's hard because we don't know, but together, as a collective, we need to do our pacific demonstrations that we don't agree with this, that we are in total disagreement, because sometimes countries and governments, they have got to follow up policies, and they have to follow up certain things that they cannot actually agree or disagree, or if they are not careful, they're probably afraid of creating more problems for themselves. But it's I think we are in the point where enough is enough. we had enough. We actually had enough. I call me a dreamer, call me whatever you want, but I still think that John Lennon was right. Uh, and we need peace. We need peace. We haven't achieved peace yet. And if a lot of people, that I joined organizations, and we want to stop child trafficking, and we want to stop child abuse, and we want to stop child drug abuse, and we want to stop all the things that we fight and try to stop, scammers, anything that you want to. But how could you stop it when there is a word out there, when these people will come here eventually, and these people will be creating this disruption as well, and they are not going to be happy. This is unhappy people, and they have got the entitled right to be unhappy because they are traumatized, absolutely traumatized. And if you put yourself in that position where you have to leave everything behind, I have, because I have done, you have to leave everything behind and travel with nothing other than to look for a place where you can, find happiness, a place that gives you secured, and a place that the law, believe or no, a lot of people just look for that place where the law makes sense. When you know what to do and what not to do. When you know if you do this, you get into trouble. And if you do that, you will get into trouble. Or if you do this, you won't get into trouble. A lot of people want that. They want that. They want a place where, everybody can live without disruptions, without the disruptions that we all have been facing in one way and another way. And this is a great opportunity to actually, fight for a cause pacifically, in a pacific way. I do admire Gandhi, because he won the world against the British without, not one single death. Just meditation in a pacific way, working in collaboration, working in communities, because somebody have to do it. So I'm doing my bit. I'm doing my Wellbeing Talks. And also, I want to talk about how it's like, how the problem started. Because I know nowadays, not everybody likes to read. And that you don't need to read. There is a lot of information out there on YouTube, which is, some information are very good. And, you can learn about these subjects, about history, and how we finish up here, how they started, and how we are here. That's what attracts me about history. You can go back in time and just find out what happened, and then you start chasing for that evidence, and then you find that evidence, and that's the beauty about history. And if you think about religion, it's no other than history. I cannot talk about things that I don't practice because I don't understand, but I can talk about things that I do practice. So if you think about the Bible is a combination of histories that people used to write, little letters that they wrote to each other, and then someone have this brilliant idea to convert it into a book. So it's still manpower. It's not real God, because God is faceless. Let's be honest. God hasn't got a face. God is the environment. God is really everything. So you could be a Jew, you could be Christian, and you could be Muslim, or you could be a Buddhist, and you all could be sitting down on the same place, having a cup of tea and a cup of coffee, and telling each other all, tales about history, about, what you think, what you believe. And yes, it will be time where, we all we disagree with each other, but that shouldn't be the main factor. I think the main connection should be humanity, and we need to empower our humanity. We need to. It is the point now where we need to empower our humanity. And that is called evolution. I don't see what's the point of thinking about technologies and cars that can fly and video conference calls and be present everywhere, when really we are leaving behind what is the most important thing: humanity. We still don't practice humanity. We still don't practice well-being, and that it should be shame. It should make us shame not to practice what it means to be a human. So I'm going different direction here again. So in my understanding, and this is what my understanding, and this is what I have been doing and my research, and once I have an understanding, I understand that that's the right one. When you think about, because a lot of kids and a lot of young people and a lot of people out there, they are too busy with the daily life that they do forget about that all these situations outside externally are affecting you, and they will be affect you. They will, and they have affect a lot of countries has been affected because of this, and a lot of people have been affected, and if we don't do something now, a lot of people will be affected. So it's a tragic, it's a real tragic, it's a real problem. So this is my understanding. How you can see what is the problem and how you can understand the problem is like this. You have got your bedroom. I'm not even going to talk about a house. You have got a bedroom. That's yours. It's your bedroom, right? You have got your bed, and you have got, your toilet and everything that you need in your own bedroom. And then suddenly something happened along the way. Your parent changed. Something happened. Blah blah blah, and you get 10 people in your bedroom. 10 people now that you have to share the bed with, and you kindly shared your bed with. But it's becoming uncomfortable, isn't it? Because it's hard to sleep with 10 people in the same bed. So you decide then to move out of the bed and start sleeping on the floor. But then these people bring more people in. Another set of people, another wave, and then another wave, and another wave, and suddenly they are pushing you against the door of your own bedroom. So this becomes really uncomfortable. Think about if you have got 30 people all sleeping in your own tiny bedroom. And then you start dividing the bedroom. And you start, it's impossible to sleep 10 to 30 people in one bedroom. It is impossible. I know Chinese are well known for this, but it's hard to do. It's really hard. So this is my understanding. So what do you do in that position? This is Gaza. This is Palestine. It doesn't work, isn't it? It doesn't work because now they are pushing you against the wall, and now you will have to leave your bedroom and you don't know where you're going to go. So the instability and your dignity and your hope and your peace of mind and your security, everything has been, taken away from you. And these other people are these people that invaded your bedroom. They're called settles, and these people just went with all the resources there. They established nice roads, they established nice cars, they established nice houses, and they just push the other people to the other side, to the board, to the other side. So how would you feel? So then you feel why these ones are fighting. You now understand why different groups and forces has been created, and you understand what is the fight for. They are fighting for the peace of mind, for the respect, for the dignity, for the land, for the security. That's what they are fighting for. But it's hard. It's really hard because the other side, you're already being invaded. It's hard to take 30 people out of your bedroom. How are you going to fight with all of them? And there have been agreements, but the agreements don't work because obviously things work well on the paper, but they don't work well in real life. That's why I prefer to go with real life cases and scenarios, because then in that way you understand what really happening. And this is not about one side, another side. This is not a conflict between Jews and Muslims. No, this is a conflict between push what is right and what is not right. And I think we all have to, take consciousness. Doesn't matter who you are, you will be affected. I keep saying this for years and years and years. These kids that has been affected, they do grow up traumatized. They do emigrate. They do go to different places. What do you think that is going to happen? What do you think the kids that they will have will be suffering and have? What do you think? What they are full of? Well, they are full of anger, hate, and that's how these external forces become alive. Exactly the same happened in Colombia with all these civil wars, and that's why we have got external forces as well. And these external forces, they don't want peace. They don't. They are full of anger, hate, and pain as well. So it's really important to do something about. I think it's important to do something about. It's important to be conscious. It's important to give support, because you're not giving support to one side or the other side. You're giving support to someone, to a human being that and is not able to sleep at night time, that hasn't got food, that hasn't got water, that hasn't got clear resources. And the other thing is that it hasn't got peace, because everything else you can create it. Everything else you can create it if you work hard. But peace, how you work in peace? If you are in a broken marriage, how do you go every day to work? You are devastated, absolutely devastated. Your mind is somewhere else. Your emotions are in somewhere else. You are scared, you dread to come back home because you know what is going to happen. So it's the same situation. There is no difference there. So think about, send me your emails, send me your notes, watch my videos. I talk about other things as well. But this my new product is all about Wellbeing Talks. And we will be working with more communities, and we will be exploring the well-being of communities, the well-being of individuals, the well-being of groups as well, and more importantly the well-being of children, because it's important to do something opposite, to go in a different direction. If we continue going in this direction where we just ignore and constantly ignore, and we constantly just full of ourselves. I must admit, it's hard not to be full of yourself. It is hard, but you cannot just turn your face and ignore the reality, because it's gonna to come and get you. It will get you. Trust me in this one. It will get you in one way and another way. It will get you. It's like I used to say before, my little analogies. You cannot have your house absolutely clean in the inside, and outside the rubbish is overflowing, because you are going to walk on that. You will be affected. You will get in bacteria and viruses and contamination. And when you walk in, you will bring all the rubbish anyway with you. So it's time to think different. It's time to create awareness. And I'm very proud that this is what we do. We create awareness. We talk about, real problem, real issues with real solutions as well. Sometimes it's not the best approach. Sometimes it's not what people want, but there are real approaches there. So have a fantastic day and keep tuned. Keep watching. Follow my social media. You know my email address and you know my name, Grace Espinosa. And I hope you have enjoyed Wellbeing Talks for today. Bye bye.